Welcome to the Gaming Feats Experience.
Hey everybody, here we are with another episode of the Gaming Feats Experience. We have with us tonight Todd Friedman. He's a game promoter, an author, a collector. He's a Galaga Forum staff member, and he's also the chair of the nominations committee for the International Video Game Hall of Fame. How you doing, Todd?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, you're very welcome. Thanks for being on with us. And we also have Joe Piscitelli from last week here with us again. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me again, John. Had a lot of fun last week, and glad to be back again tonight.
Awesome. Thanks. Now, we do have a little bit of an issue tonight. We don't have Rob with us. He's without power down in Indiana due to storms. So, due to my lack of technical ability, we don't have video for Todd or Joe. You just get to see my glorious mug. So, that said, maybe we could start out, since we had Joe on last week, maybe start out with a little about Todd, who you are, what you're doing, what do you got going on, what would people like to know about you, things like that.
Sure. Todd Friedman. I live in Illinois, suburb of Illinois. I've been, involved in gaming since I was a kid. Obviously, like most people. Grew up in the '80s with the Nintendo and the Sega battles, and went to Team Sega, and then went back to Nintendo in the '90s. But basically, about 12 years ago, I got more involved with the community of gaming, and met a lot of people from different areas, and just started going to different events and going to different kind of venues, and met a lot of people over the years, and basically just keeping up with with the updated topics of gaming. I got involved in writing for magazines, writing for blogs on the internet. I got involved with Walter Day's trading card project he's done since like 2008, and then then I got to help out with the International Video Game Hall of Fame. And at first I was just helping out to be a part of it, because it was a cool thing to be a part of and meet a lot of cool people. And then they asked me to be on the nomination committee last year, and appointed me to be the chairman. So currently we're in the process of inducting or getting the nominations going for the class of 2020. So that's going to be in October, and based on the world we live in today with the pandemic, we're hoping that we can still have a nice event in October.
Right, yeah, that's been an issue.
Let's hope so. Yes.
Now, one thing I want to mention too, due to this little glitch we had tonight, we'll have you back on with video, so you can do a lot more promo type stuff, at that time. But we can still have a little conversation, and I don't want to leave Joe out either. What do you anything you feel like talking about?
Are you asking Joe or me?
Either one of you.
I think he was asking you, but actually, if I could ask a question to Todd, then I'll throw it out at this, maybe kind of focus the question a little bit more. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the Hall of Fame in Ottumwa?
Sure.
I know I was fortunate enough to be out there last October, definitely because, and John was there as well, because as you know, Galaga, which is one of our favorite games of all times, was inducted. So that was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
I actually met you, though, I believe last year, not too far from me here in the Chicago area at your event at the Odeum in Villa Park. So that's something I guess you could talk about as well.
Yeah.
But jumping back to the Hall of Fame, hopefully, fingers crossed, coming up this fall in October. Can you, I don't know, could you leak anything? I'm just not so much about gamers. Sure. You're probably doing that, but any clues, or can you spill a little tea about as far as maybe what games possibly would be inducted? I'm curious about that.
Sure. I can't really divulge too much information, but I can tell you that I had another call tonight with the voting committee, and that's the committee that's going to decide the top nominations that'll be on the list for the public to vote on. And I can tell you there's some pretty cool games being nominated this year. lot of them that probably should have been many, many years ago in the Hall of Fame, but they are up at the top of the nominations. So can't give away too much, but I do know that our goal is to get it done by the end of April. And so in May, we can get the nomination public so we can get some voting going. But we have a great list of games and gamers from all the generations from the 80s, well, really from the 70s until today.
Nice.
Yeah,
do you know, or can you maybe for our listeners, and I'm not sure if, because I know, John, you said we're quite limited tonight as far as technology, but
Sure.
For the listeners out there, could you just tell them a little bit more, or where to find information about the Hall of Fame? Where could they go?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, it's basically the initials of the International Video Game Hall of Fame. So if you go to IVGHOF, so International Video Game Hall of Fame .com or
Info.
actually .info. I got to make sure I say that. So it's .info. This will give you the history of the International Video Game Hall of Fame. It'll give you all the past inductees, information about the inductees, pictures, stats about the inductees, and a lot of more information. We're still working on the website. We want to put more videos on there. We want to make it more kind of up to date with what we're doing, but that'll be a good start for people to look at and find out how our past inductees were.
Sure. And for folks that have not been there, like I said, I was fortunate enough to be at my first one last October. Maybe just real quick, describe the weekend if they would want to make the trek out to Ottumwa, Iowa.
Yeah.
To just to explain a little bit, what's the 60-second pitch, the elevator pitch on why you should come out to Ottumwa this fall.
Sure. Well, to do the really quick version, I mean, Ottumwa, Iowa, for those who don't know, is the video game capital of the world. It was proclaimed that in the early 80s, and it's been historically a place where retro gamers and gamers of today meet up and do gaming. Back in the Twin Galaxy days, there was places to score high scores, and it was just a great place to hang out. And so as of 2010, we brought back the vision that Walter Day had in the early 80s and 90s, and came up with some Hall of Fame inductions and some other video game trading card events. But I really recommend coming out because there's just a wide variety of gamers that show up to these events. That's why I got drawn to it. I mean, basically you can meet people, world record holders like you guys from Galaga. There's world record holders on Pac-Man and other games. There's esports players that I would never meet if I didn't go to these events. And then there's also some fun things to do outside the event. But there's there's an arcade, there's a museum where you can see artifacts from the gaming world. And there's some vendors too who also sell stuff. So there's a variety of things to do the whole weekend. Some events, and it depends on the year. We haven't announced anything yet, but we do some things also in the town of Ottumwa. We do maybe some photo shoots or some other fun gaming ideas that we do in the town. So it's not just a one-day event; it's a whole weekend from Friday to Sunday.
Mm-hmm. You have, because I haven't looked yet, Todd. You guys, again, fingers crossed. Do you have the dates already planned to get the word out?
Yeah, so we are, if everything goes well with the world, we are scheduled to do it the weekend of October 3rd. So it would be Friday the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So first weekend in October. Typically, we've done it in the middle of October, end of October, but this year we're going to do the beginning of October. So
Gotcha.
I really...
And Saturday...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I really have my fingers crossed. I really believe we can get this event going. I think people will be back to what they used to have before all this in the next months or so.
Yeah, let's hope. And I know Saturday's the big day. I think people start coming in Friday. Like you said, there's lots of events and setting up, and I think groups go out for meals and get-togethers, but Saturday's the big day, and that's the day I was there. It was a blast, all the way. And then there's events throughout the afternoon. Everything's going on. Walter's card ceremony, and then the actual big ceremony itself. I know there's an after party. trading card. You could sign trading cards with everyone that's there. And then I believe it concludes pretty much just kind of loosely on Sunday morning for those who stick around in town.
Yeah, this year or last year's weekend, we had a special event for the late Joel West, who passed away the year before. And so we had a nice little get together and talked about him. And then there was also this Find the Walter game, which was started up last year, where they would hide pictures or little minuets of Walter in the local stores, which made it was like a treasure hunt where you have to go into these stores and find the Walters, and whoever had the most won a prize. So
that's cool. Yeah.
So that Sunday was a pretty cool event.
Yeah. And that's cool too, to help promote, local, Main Street type business there in Ottumwa. My first time there, and it is a small town. I mean, but then again, my trek out from Chicago driving there, I mean, I'm driving for hours through cornfields and farm fields in Iowa and stuff. But Ottumwa's actually it's a nice little town, and it's built up. I mean, it's not some super small little town. I mean, there's, hotels and restaurants and pretty much everything you would need. So, it's a great place. It's a great community. So,
absolutely. I mean, I've been in Illinois my whole life, but since I've been to Ottumwa and Fairfield, Iowa, I've always said, if I weren't here, I want to go there because it's really a cool place. It's a nice community.
Now, one of the things I didn't mention, I was also on the nominations committee with you last year. I talked to Lonnie. I don't know what the plans were this year, so I don't know if I'm still on or not. But
maybe not, John.
I know we never really confirmed one way or the other. However, so that you've got that going. Now you also have written a book, right?
Okay, yeah. So the book was like years and years of other work that I've been doing for Walter Day. So when he started the trading card project in 2008, and for those who aren't aware of that, you can go to the website called thewalterdaycollection.com, and it's basically the documents and history of the trading cards that Walter's created, which include gamers, games, developers, includes world record holders, and it's a really cool trading card set. And I think at this point he's got over 2,000 cards printed. So there are 2,000 cards out there with people's faces and games on them.
Yeah.
And
even
so
John Klinkle has his own card.
Yes,
Yeah,
he does.
Like 5 of them now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he did a trading card spotlight for me. So if you search his name on the website, you'll see an interview I did with him. So that website basically got me introduced to all these different gamers and all these different history and all this fun little tidbits that no one really knew about the gamers and the people on the cards. So I had this great idea, along with Jeffrey Wittenhagen, who is another gamer that I've met in different conventions. He's a writer himself. I wanted to do a book so everyone who didn't really have the physical cards can have like an inventory of what the cards are and still read about the history of the people on the cards. And then they can take them to events and have people sign them and stuff like that. So that was my vision. And 2 years later, it became a reality, and we have a full published book of the first 200 cards that were printed, and stories behind them, interviews, pictures. It's just a great book. And you can also find a video and how to order the book on the WalterDayCollection.com website.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, so correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, I believe, can you buy, does Walter sell the entire collection of the cards?
Oh, well, yes. So you can find him on Facebook as well. If you search Walter Day, if you're friends with him on Facebook, he's got some cards and sets that he's selling online on Facebook. But if you want a particular set of cards, or if you want a particular one card signed by somebody, you can email him at any time, and he'll be happy to ship out you the cards at a cost. It depends on the amount of cards you get. Is based on the price, and he'll have to include shipping and handling. But the book itself is $30 plus shipping and handling. So we decided to set that price, worldwide. So if someone from Australia, someone from Canada wanted to order, it's $30. It would just depend on the shipping. And I should mention that the proceeds, the money that the book is being sold to, go directly to Walter. This was sort of a first project for me that Jeffrey and I wanted to dedicate to Walter for all his hard work. So any books that are purchased, Walter will receive the money, and it'll go to his music career that he's trying to get going, as well as his trading card project.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, we were going to have a conversation a while back with Triforce, and it was going to be the three of us chatting. That never came about due to schedule conflicts, I think.
Yeah.
Is that an issue at present, or has that kind of been cleared away?
With Triforce?
Well, the nomination process.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's been kind of squared away. We've actually gone through the nomination process already. It was definitely a lot less work than we did last year, John. It was a lot. We had a lot of things to go through, documentation and rules and different things like that. So this year we didn't have to do that because we have everything pretty concrete, and we just had to go through the nominations themselves. Triforce hasn't really been involved at all. We
were just going to do that stream together and talk about the nomination process, like what people have to do to nominate someone.
He didn't. I reminded him 2 or 3 times about getting the stream done, and he never got it going. So, in fact, him and his group of people that he streams with didn't nominate anyone this year, which is surprising to me. Yeah. So that was a disappointment, but we couldn't extend it just for him. It wouldn't be fair to anyone else. Right. So we had to end it. We gave people over 30 days to nominate someone. So it's a good month. And
I didn't even know what was going on, so I didn't nominate anyone either.
Yeah, we tried to promote it as best we could. It was out there on Facebook and stuff, and we put it out there on a lot of websites. Maybe you missed it, or we have, International Video Game Hall of Fame, for those who don't know, also has a Facebook page. So if you search that on Facebook, you can find the page, and we should have updated. It's not updated daily, but it's up-to-date information.
Yeah, maybe that's a good nudge to, if you want to maybe send out another blast on Facebook in the next couple of days. Especially, sure. I think everybody right now is definitely doing more social media than ever. I know myself included. I've been glued to my social media probably 8,000 times a day, just because it's a great break and to see what everyone else is doing and trying to stay sane. Well,
and John too. Also, I sent out 2 or 3 different emails, shout outs to all my friends and people I know, and I know you were on one of those. You must have had an email from me.
Don't recall seeing them. That's
I'll check, but
I'll have
I'm
to go back
sure.
and look. But
I got you.
I wasn't checking my emails every day at some points,
so
that could be part of it as well.
Yeah, but one of the things that the Video Game Hall of Fame is really trying to get better at is the promotion and marketing. We're still a new little group. It was started in 2010, but then kind of drifted off in 2013 and 14. And then so the last 2 or 3 years, we've been trying to get it back to where it used to be. And one of the, our budget is low, and we're trying to get some sponsors and get some money rolling into our committee. But right now it's low, so we don't have a lot of marketing to do. So the best way we could do it is word of mouth and try to build up a base to get more people to be there.
Yeah. Do you guys have? Are there any plans? I believe there was a little bit of chatter I heard last October. Are there plans this year to possibly change venues? Because I believe it's been held. It's been held in different venues over the years. I know last year when I attended the main ceremonies were, I can't think of the name of the mall, but it's the one mall that's there in town. Plus there's that arcade, which is nice because there's the arcade just down the hallway from where the main intersection of the mall where it all took place. But anyway, has there been chatter of a new venue or not?
Yeah, there was some small chatter this year to do it, but we expected a little bigger budget, and it didn't seem to come to pass. So we are going to do it again at the local mall in Ottumwa. But we'd love, once we get a budget and we get some money flowing in from sponsors and stuff, we'd love to get it into like an auditorium like it was in the early days at the Bridgeview Center, so we can have more of a staged event with a stage and people coming in from different places to watch. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little stage you guys saw, obviously, and John was on stage last year. It's a nice little stage we built, but there's not a lot of traffic, and that's the one thing I wish we had more of, is a town or a place that had more people and traffic, so we can lure people in and show them what the ceremony is about. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to keep it local in Ottumwa because that's the video game capital. So
have you reached out? And I don't want to bring up a sore subject, but have you guys in the past, or have you yet, have you reached out to some of the video game manufacturers that are still in business? Have you reached out to Nintendo or Bally Midway, Stern, places like that, just to see what they could possibly contribute?
Yeah, so we did a lot of that last year because, as John knows, and you were there as well, but there was some high-end individuals from Microsoft, Nintendo, and other different companies, the Minecraft company, that got inducted, and they actually got in contact with us. We talked to Reggie, the ex-president of Nintendo. We talked to Bonnie Ross, who worked on the Halo series from Bungie. So we got some big companies that got inducted, and they wanted to be a part of this ceremony in the future. So we do have contacts, and we have ways to get them involved. But then this pandemic hit, and things kind of went a different direction, and people didn't really talk Hall of Fame. So we do have those. And then you mentioned Stern Pinball. I mean, I'm friends with Gary Stern, and I know them pretty well. They're definitely on board. But yeah, this kind of threw a wrench in a lot of our plans, amongst anybody's plans really in the world. But that's our intention, yeah. And once we can get the big guys like that on board, the rest will kind of follow, because they'll realize how big this could get. So.
Hey, John, do you have access? I know, like last week, we had Jason in Texas, or we had that one, was it Joe? I can't think of his name, over in the Kingdom, commenting back and forth. Any comments out there online right now?
I am not seeing comments. I'm not sure if that's working properly. We'll have to see about that. I'm actually trying to add a picture of you at the moment. You guys were you were talking. I was trying to sneak that in.
While you do that, I have another question. Then kind of switch gears here for Todd. Then maybe talk a little bit about now it's a little bit sooner, and I also hope it's going to still happen. But your event, local event here in the Chicagoland area that I attended. I think that's the first time I met you.
Oh, yeah.
Over at the Odeum in Villa Park, Illinois.
Yep.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, that's my pride and joy, really.
Yeah, that's your baby.
Yeah, that's the thing I really look forward to every year. I've been doing it since 2008. I guess 2008 was the year I started everything. But 2008, I've been doing it. I think I missed 1 year based on a wedding I had to go to. But yeah, it started off a little small event in where were we? We were in a different town in Chicago. I can't even think of it at the moment. But we got so big that we had to move to the Odeum in Villa Park. And yeah, it's so. There's the Midwest Gaming Classic. There's a lot of Midwest gaming conventions that happen around that are obviously bigger. But what's unique about my event, and Dan Icavelli, who also promotes it with me and started the event, is it's a one-day event, and it's family friendly. It's kind of a one-stop shop where people get together and talk video games and trade games. I set up my console collection of video game systems so people can play. We bring in arcade games from Galloping Ghost. That's in Brookfield, Illinois, with Doc Mack. He brings in some of his arcade games. And it's just a nice little venue, one-day event that brings in a good amount of people and from all over.
Yeah, it was a good time. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I
Oh,
mean, it was a nice event. Go ahead, John.
Armando says hi, everybody.
Oh,
Hey, Armando Gonzalez out in Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, it's a really good time. We have a website for that as well. If you go to videogamesummit.net, one word, you can see our website. Now, in terms of the event this year, it's still planning. It's still planned. I went to the Odeum this year personally because we got so big last year that we had vendors out in the hallway. So this year, we're going to reserve the banquet stage hall that's on the first floor, where we're going to have this whole big, huge bottom floor for everybody.
Nice.
Yeah,
That I was going to say, because when I attended I think it was last July.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was on the main floor.
Yeah.
You know, but I know we were, you know, the arrows pointed to go upstairs. You pay the small fee to get in. Your nominal charge is all good. And the one thing though is because it was so packed. I mean, you were almost. Yeah, but no, it was like I was actually like kind of, you know, like a jaw dropper. Like, wow, there are a lot of vendors here. I mean, like you said, trading games, selling games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you said Doc Mack had his little mini arcade set up.
Mm-hmm.
I know those, you know, Meet Walter Day.
Yeah.
There's also, gosh, who's that?
Had
some of the gaming. You know, some of the game developers were there. You know, signing
Brian
merchandise.
Collin,
Brian was there with Rampage and selling
and then
off
Jeff Lee from Qbert. Yep.
Selling off some. You get some stuff autographed. I got a buddy who has a Rampage cabinet at his house. He brought his marquee to get signed. I mean, I think he was glowing all day. I mean, that's just cool stuff, you know.
And that's a testament of all my years of just meeting different people around the industry. As I became good friends with them, you know, that's how I became friends with John and learned about the Galaga Forum. I mean, I just really made a lot of cool people, and they are very loyal to me, and they come to different events, and you know, it's just really cool to have all the different video game people that are in the industry. Even like the Pinball Expo in Wheeling, you know, I was involved in that a little with Robert Burke, and I got to meet all the pinball developers, Gary Stern and such. And, you know, now I don't hang out with them, but I can give them a call at any time and they can do, you know, help me with a favor or something. So it's really cool. And our goal is to have the event. The problem is every event from now till almost the end of June has been canceled, including, you know, E3 and other huge events that are going to happen. So we're really skeptical that we're going to have it, but we're going to wait till the end of April to see how everything's panning out with the world. But we are scheduled to be there on July 11th, 2020.
Yeah, fingers crossed. One more time for people who want to look that up. Where could they go right now to find information on that?
Yeah, it's videogamesummit.net, N-E-T. So one word is Video Game Summit. You can also search Google for Video Game Summit, but the exact address is .net.
Yeah, real cool. But definitely, I give my recommendation. Very cool event, and definitely wish you the best. And I just,
Thanks.
you know, like everything, I really hope everything just starts coming back to normal real soon.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is more important than any video game event, but you know, I would be disappointed if I'd have to cancel it, but it would be understandable. So,
Would you go ahead?
No, I was going to say, I'm sure I met you at the event, but there's some stuff going on I don't recall, but I'm sure we had a good conversation.
Oh yeah, no,
I've seen you. Yeah, I've seen you there and multiple places. But actually, one quick question then. So, just throwing this out for your event because it's obviously close. It's coming up, you know, sooner than the Video Game Hall of Fame, you know, in Ottumwa. I know some events, like a lot of things, sports, this is that, have talk of postponing, but not canceling, you know, the season or the year. So would would that be a possibility where you guys could push it maybe later into the fall, or is it just, is it a no-go then?
We are in early talks of possibly postponing it till the fall, but we haven't come up with a date or a plan. It's really, the Odeum is a really busy place for big events, concerts, and things that are booked years in advance. So it would be tough to find a weekend in the fall that would be available. So anything's possible, but I know like the Midwest Gaming Classic, I know they're not going to do that. They're going to wait till next year, and understandably, it's a lot of work to do these events, and it would be hard to change the date. But anything's possible. We're in the early talks. We're talking about hopefully having it in the same place. So, yeah.
And again,
I would love to do it twice a year, to be honest with you. That's my ultimate goal, is to do two events, because it's really a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, and not just for attendees too. For prospective vendors out there listening, in the area. I'm not sure how far you bring them in from. I'm sure not everyone is local to Chicago. I think you bring in people from a little farther out that come in and peddle their their wares.
Oh yeah, we got a ton from Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan came out. We got some good vendors that are loyal, and we have a good friend I met, David. Ziegler, Geisler, sorry, he does the Zelda podcast. I met him a couple of years ago, and he got really big on his viewers, and his because of the Video Game Summit, people saw his podcast there, and he got a lot of followers, and it really helped him with his podcast. So
I remember seeing them out there. Yeah, they had a cool little booth set up.
Oh yeah, they have a great setup. It's so cool. And this year they're going to, if we have it, they're going to be even bigger because they got more space now. But the other thing too, and you remember this too, is the heat was really bad. The air conditioning had a problem upstairs. So this way, now that we're downstairs, we'll have no issues with the air conditioner. We're going to have no issues with leaking ceilings like we've had in the past. And so this is a big step for us. We really needed this to be done.
Well, wish you the best.
Yeah, thanks. It's a good community, and people like you guys are part of it, and I like being part of this nice little gaming world.
So, you've got the book. That's the trading cards, right?
Yeah, the book's the trading cards. The Walter Day collection is more of interviews I do with the people on the trading cards. And then I can promote really quick. I write for Old School Gamer magazine, which is a bi-monthly physical and digital magazine.
Yes.
You can find that at oldschoolgamer.com, one word. Yeah, that's a fun project.
I sent John the recent link to it. He wasn't aware.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's promoted okay. I mean, we have sponsors and we have advertisers, but not many people know. But it's a physical magazine. We talk about old school games.
I had it. I just that's why I mentioned that I had seen it.
Yeah.
But
I remember you said you had it.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. We got some great writers on that. We got like Michael Tomlinson, and we got Leonard Herman and Patrick Hickey Jr. We got some big time writers that are on this website and magazine. So I'm proud to be a part of that group. But it's great. It's a bi-monthly magazine. You can order it online on the website, or you can order the digital version. The digital version right now is free, so you can just subscribe with your email, and you'll get the free digital magazine every other month. But some people like that hard physical copy, and I'm one of those people. And you can also get that, I believe, I'm looking it up now. It's kind of changed. Let's see. I'm going to tell you the price because I want to be accurate. Because I know we've changed the price recently, but
I got my first copy from you guys. I know I signed up. You guys actually, I think, had if I'm not mistaken, you had a little contest. You were giving away some of those. I can't think of the name of the company that makes those little. Is it Numbskull? Those little mini games, or was it Numbskull? No.
No.
I think you got a miniature Tempest, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that was a different vendor that was doing that. Yeah, that was by the Old School. Yeah, so Old School Gamer Magazine, we get items like that from sponsors that we give away in raffles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
At
Mm-hmm.
the Midwest Gaming Classic last year, we raffled off one of those one-up arcade machines that you see at Walmart and stuff.
Yes, that's what it
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
yeah. So we have, yeah, definitely different giveaways for that. Ryan Berger, who's the creator of Old School Gamer, he does a lot of traveling, and he does a lot of promoting for this magazine. He goes to different events, and we have booths at different events. But I just found out it was $36, but we've lowered it to $30 for a 1-year subscription. So that's not bad. It would be 6 issues, so you get them for $5 each. And yeah, it's a really cool magazine. The next one's comes out in so we just had the one in March, so it'll be May. May will be the next issue.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. Like I said, I still have the copy you gave me last July, and I keep it especially because I love the front and back artwork, because you have the little mini arcade, and of course there's a Galaga. One of the machines is a Galaga on there. I think it was really cool, so of course I kept that. A Galaga fan. Definitely, I open up right away when I receive your email, and I go through it, and there are some really interesting articles. There's some really good reads in there. So for those that have not seen it yet, definitely something I would sign up for.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where do you go one more time? Where do you go one more time if you want to get it?
It's Old School Gamer Magazine, one word, .com. And again, you can search Old School Gamer in Google, and you'll have the website right there.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll get some more fans.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's again, it seems like a lot of things I'm doing, but I kind of, able to manage my time with these, and proud to be a part of these of these different events and things. I do have a Facebook page. I'm not a big Facebook poster, but I made a video game kind of Facebook page of my life in video games. So if you ever want to know more about me, you can search Todd Friedman in Facebook, and I show a lot of my collection, a lot of people I've met through the years at my events. I show some event pictures of Video Game Summit and Midwest Gaming and stuff. So
yeah, I see your posts. I see you've been doing some creative stuff while you're sheltering in place. I always give you the thumbs up. I'm not just to see that.
No, I do.
My posts and stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah. It's people are like, why don't you post any personal things? I'm like, well, I want to keep that private. So I just kind of post some things I'm doing.
I think a lot of people go overboard with posting the personal stuff.
Yeah. And they post every 5 minutes, and I can't keep up with all that.
Oh, I hate my job. Great.
Yeah, right.
Now your employer sees it, and maybe you don't have one to hate.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Or the political stuff is just annoying.
Yeah, I do. I get involved in that a lot myself.
Yeah, don't get John started, Todd.
I'll have to look at John's page.
Yeah.
It's nothing we talk about like in the gaming stuff on the podcast or anything like that. But personally, definitely a hot topic.
Hey, everyone's got their fun stuff.
Yeah. So.
Oh, by the way, I was going to mention, since we're talking, on this conference call, I'm really excited about all the new high scores in Galaga that are coming around. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of people playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a battle. I know, I interviewed Armando for a high score, and then I interviewed was Jonathan, right? Jordan had a high score, and now it's like, geez, these high scores are being beaten every couple months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been crazy the last year. Yeah. And also, with Galaga Forum, and then now Jordan created his Galaga group that's out there.
Yeah, I'm on that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of new emerging players, and some of these guys are just putting up some fantastic scores. Young, guys our age, guys. Let's say in their 20s and 30s, like Jordan, and then we even you probably see, even young teenagers too. We're talking, 14 years old, putting up some serious Galaga scores. Where it's really, really cool, especially if you're a fan of the game, just to see in the last couple of years. where those scores have taken off to, because for many years, I was telling when John and I talk, we go back to the old scores by Andrew Laidlaw and stuff, where and John's a really good writer, and he wrote up some really good stuff about this, where one of his lines, I think he said something, I'll quote John, that some people would even think some of these new scores are attainable, or really that they're unobtainable, that they're impossible to achieve. And then you see guys like Armando and Jordan Dorrington and some of these newer guys putting up these scores, 9 million points on tournament play, and 18 and 20 million on marathon. It's crazy. And you're talking, hours and hours and hours of play. Talking, these guys are playing marathon for 12, 14 hours, on Galaga. And it's a tough game. It just keeps going and going and going. It'll break you down, because there's not much change to the game. That's one of those things for folks that know Galaga.
For those that don't know, Galaga is a little different than some of these other marathon games. The games that they have marathons on, like Asteroids or some of the others, Nibbler, because you don't get to keep building up free lives.
Right.
You get what you have. Once you crack 1 million, there's no more. You've got what you've got, and that's it.
Wow.
And that's if you play on the marathon settings, which is one of the tracks that we keep score of, and it's one of the scores that's pretty much out there posted and that people follow. And then when we play what we call tournament, you start off with 5 chips or 5 lives, and that's it. You start with 5. You get no more. So for guys, we're back in the day when people thought 4 million or something like that was an insane score. Now that these guys are putting up almost 10 million points on 5 lives, that's just impossible. And of course, may I add, on the hardest difficulty on the machine, because Galaga has 4 different levels of difficulty that the operator that you actually can set on the board. There's A, B, C, D, from easiest to most difficult. So we only like to track and we score on the most difficult to truly, I guess, test the skill, and show the best of the best.
Well, let me ask you this, guys. So as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Galaga is not like a pattern game like Pac-Man, right? It's a lot of, you got to really keep your eye on there's no patterns.
That's an interesting thing, though, because we've been made aware of a guy. This guy was just kind of underground, basically. He said there's 14 different ways to do stage 1. At the start, and I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. I'm curious to find out more about this. So I guess technically there could be a pattern if you do everything exactly identical all the way through each time. Then the enemy ships would react the same way. So you could make it a pattern, but that would be something that would take. It'd take a savant to do something like that. It's but no, for the most part, it's not. No, it's not a pattern game. You just
it's really difficult.
Dodge. No, absolutely. And again, everybody plays it. You usually develop. I don't want to call it a pattern, but you have your own ways. Every player, it's the same game, but everybody plays it. Some guys start off in the center. Some guys play certain stages to the left. They start off maybe certain stages to the right. It is a little bit different. And even with the various challenging stages, I know we had talked about this last week, and there's lots of comment about it too. The challenging stages, the enemies always come out in the exact same formations on all the challenging stages. However, if you look from player to player to player to player, we all have, there's various ways to attack those challenging stages. Even between, if you compare Armando and Jordan, the way that they go after challenging stages, they can complete them and get perfect challenging stages like most of us can't. Exactly, but they do them in different ways. And some of us think that, hey, let's say on challenging stage, the first one. most people might play it, if you want to say the typical way, where you pretty much line up and stay mostly in the center. I know guys like Armando sometimes shift around a little bit, and they start off a little bit left and they move themselves over. Everybody plays them different, and I think it's one of those things too, where like habits are hard to break. And you start playing the game a certain way, and that's something too. If you talk to these guys like you have and I have, you talk to some of these great Galaga players. That's one thing that they'll say, where you have to get better. You have to identify your mistakes, and then learn how to fix them, and then readjust your gameplay, and then to make yourself out of practice. Repeat that new way. If you want to say the more successful way of getting through something.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I like how a lot of people are streaming their games now, like on Twitch or YouTube, and it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, that's been a big thing because of technology now on Galaga Forum and on Galaga Group. These guys have been streaming all the time with the technology that's out there, so it's really fun. There's watch parties. It's really great to watch these guys, to cheer them on. I think it kind of gets them excited just to kind of get better and better and better. Very, very cool. Definitely something that has just exploded. I've seen over the last year.
Yeah.
And I know something that Jordan really pushes on his group too. Are guys really that play on any platform, whether if it's not even a true, what we call like an original cabinet, even if they have it on a, what do you guys call, like a desktop or a PlayStation or whatever.
Console.
Console. That's fine. I mean, they, so there's guys out there that don't have, they're not fortunate enough to have a real machine, at their disposal in their living room or maybe at their office, or a buddy with one. So they stream any Galaga, and everybody cheers for them. And really, and I bring this up a lot too, it's for love of the game. It's really for love of Galaga. So that's something we try to push too. I mean, we want people to get better and to get great scores, and we want to see these scores go higher, but really we just want to keep, we don't want Galaga, which I think with its success, next year is going to be, the game's going to be 40 years old.
Amazing.
And still think of all the different platforms you can play Galaga on. It's still out there. You can go sometimes to various fun centers and places that are still open. And sometimes there's a Galaga machine there, or maybe it's a combo, Miss Pac-Man Galaga combo, or Pac-Man's arcade party that has some of the, if you want to say, the greatest hits on there. But guess what? Galaga's there. And how cool is that? Or I know I have a blast when I'm out of town, or out of town on vacation or for work, and you stumble in someplace and, oh my gosh, there's a Galaga machine. That's so cool. Just to see that people are still pumping quarters in it.
Yeah, I know. Like, talking to arcade people, that's like one of the top 5 games you have to have in your arcade.
Oh yeah.
So, but another thing I have is those. Now they have like those little small mini arcades, like their keychain, and I have the Galaga one. It's like so fun to play. And even though it's so small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, but I'm looking at the Galaga forum. But I was going to ask you guys who scores higher. But it looks like depends on the between you two.
Oh, between us two?
Yeah.
Oh no, John has me beat, no problem there.
It would depend on the day.
But yeah, of course.
You
Well,
could
we
say
don't
that
play.
about everybody. I mean, really.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. I mean, we don't play it. Unfortunately, I can speak as well. For John, we don't have the luxury of having our own machines.
That's true.
But the guys who do, I mean, in perfect example, just look where like in the last year, Armando took what we consider both of the world records for the tracks that we keep track of, the marathon and tournament settings.
Yep.
And then this year, just recently, as Jordan Dorrington, who kind of came out of nowhere in the last year or two, he took them. And then now Armando is playing again and practicing, and he wants obviously to come back and reclaim his crown. And he obviously still, even after not playing for God, I think almost a year, he's already come back and put up games of 5 million points. But it's funny for guy of Armando's skill. You know, you would think, you know, he could just come right back within a couple weeks, or, you know, maybe a couple dozen games of playing. Oh, he'll come back and he'll take the score. No, it's hard. It's hard. It's a lot of practice. I think he's got a really good chance, and I think he will eventually reclaim one or both of those titles. But as he knows, and he also has his own cabinet now at his home in LA. But even having your own machine, I mean, there's definitely some just skill, but a lot of it, I think, truly is like we say too. You have to play.
Right.
You have to play. I mean, you could play, and put up whatever, 1 million points, 5 million, whatever points, but you put the game down for a while and come back to it. There's going to have what I like to say, you know, muscle memory and stuff like that. But you know, it's going to take time to bring those scores back up. It does.
You know, Score Wars was a perfect example of that for both Phil and I. You know, Phil Day from Australia. So he and I hadn't been playing. You know, I'd played maybe 2 total games in the prior 5 years, and Phil hadn't been playing at all. He got a little head start, you know, of getting back into it. But I went and played at Galloping Ghost over a weekend, and I met Mark Schultz down there because he was all excited to get into it. And we thought, oh, we'll just go in and qualify together and see what happens. But I got there the night before, and I thought I'd play a couple games to see where I was at. And my first game, I don't even think I hit 400,000, and I was like, I'm going to go home. You know, this isn't even worth doing. I played another game that I got 880,000. So then I thought, well, I'll stick it out. And then the next day I hit 1.4. Then I hit 2.2. These are on 5 shows. So I was feeling a lot more, you know, the more I played, the better I was getting. And then when we got to New Mexico, I was able to put a 1 million point run together without losing a ship. But then we get called away for something or whatever. So I was already at a point where I was competitive with those guys at the time. Now their games, like you mentioned, Joe, have just blown up. Like Mike Thompson at Score Wars was around the same level I was. He was a little, maybe not quite at that time. Armando, while he was doing really well, he exploded afterwards. You saw what Mike's done afterwards. Andrew Barrow, though, he just puts up monster scores. That's just what he does. And then Andrew Laidlaw was there. I don't know how much practice he had leading up to it. He did play like the whole time we were there, leading up to the actual start of the tournament. He was on a machine the whole time. And it definitely helped him, you could tell, when the tournament got going. But for all of us, like you said, it's muscle memory, and we just had to get back into it. But if we, we would have to continue playing like these other guys did to get those big scores. And those guys have just got some amazing scores now. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, and too, and to that, you talk about playing and putting up, like 400,000, 800,000, 1 million. You talk to guys, and again, I bring up because I know these guys really well, Armando and Jordan, even sometimes right before they've put up some of their record scores, they'll have what they consider a terrible game, and then boom, next game is a record-setting game.
Yep.
So, and that's just it. You watch these guys play. They'll play a game. They're on a good run. Then all of a sudden, they won't score 500,000 points and start losing lives. And then they'll finish it off or kill it off, whatever they decide to do. Then they'll play one more game, and then bam, all of a sudden there you go, record score. So, that's the one thing too. I think all of them, everyone knows, they know that just because these guys are at the level that they're at does not mean every game is going to be a monster scoring game.
Right, and I think that's probably the case with most games.
Absolutely.
Somebody will have a bad game.
Yeah. So like when you guys, I'm looking at scores, you guys can get 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. What's the next? How do you get to the 10 million level? Is it just more patience and focus, or? I mean, that seems like a big jump.
It's a lot of focus. You actually, though, Armando talks about this a lot. You really need to get in shape for it. Now, I have played a fast shot game for 7.5 hours, and after it was a couple day recovery from that because I stand, I don't sit. So, and then the firing with your arm. I was actually crossing back over. That's why my game ended when it did. My last, I don't know how many ships. I was playing, I was shooting with my left hand and moving the joystick with my right, so I had my arms crossed in front of me, and it was near impossible to do that because I hadn't practiced it. But I couldn't keep firing with my right arm or my right hand, however you want to word it. But yeah, it was crazy. So to do it for 12 to 14 hours on the normal shot. It's just you'd have to be in shape for it, but the focus is huge. It's a big deal because fast shot you don't really need to keep focus so much. You're just killing stuff fast. But but normal shot, you lose focus, and you've seen Jordan do it. You've seen Armando do it. They'll lose several ships right in a row. Boom, boom, boom. It'll destroy a game. But then when you regain your focus, you just hope that you haven't lost too many.
Well, that's exactly. I think that's what happens to all of us. Like you say, to get as far as you can. But of course, if you do lose a ship, that's one of the hardest things, and that is something that Galaga players we talk about is not only, like you mentioned, John, focus, but also playing Galaga, we call it recovery, basically trying to double up then, practicing, especially at those stages and at those levels of fatigue and stress, to keep your composure and to just shake it off and then double up that chip again to get that double firepower back and keep going, because you hear so many times guys will post where they're playing a great game, whatever their score is, it doesn't matter, but they're having a great game, they haven't lost a life yet, and then all of a sudden, boom, they'll lose maybe one of their ships, and then they lose it, they lose concentration, they get upset, whatever it is, angry, and then they struggle to get to recapture and to double up their fighters again, and then boom, they lost a second, boom, they lost a third, and the next thing you know, the game's over.
Yep.
It's awesome to watch, so I tell you that.
So, what games do you play a lot, Todd? Do you have some favorites?
My favorite arcade games, my two favorite arcade games of all time is Moon Patrol and Smash TV. Those aren't like popular ones that people play a lot, but those are the ones I really played all the time in the arcade.
Moon Patrol. No, they're both great games. They're both great. I get a little bored. I haven't played Moon Patrol in a long time. I got a little bored with it, but again, I'm not sure how old you are. John and I are the same age, so we go back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Being at the arcades.
I'm in my 40s.
Okay, all right. But yeah, I remember also, I'm not sure what year it was. I want to say it was probably maybe late 80s, early 90s when Smash TV came out. And yeah, I love Smash TV.
That's awesome. And it's so hard.
Yeah. No, that's a tough game. And actually, you can play. We were plugging some arcades last week. You can play both those. Actually, all three. You can play Moon Patrol, Smash TV, and Galaga at the Galloping Ghost in Brookfield, Illinois.
Yeah, you play everything.
Yeah, Doc has all three.
He has, I think, every game made. No.
Oh yeah, he's got a ton. Initial release date for Smash TV was April 1990. By the way.
There you go.
Okay,
that
makes sense. Yeah,
I was in the right window. I knew it.
Sure.
But the other thing that really gets me, interested is console gaming. I'm just a big console gamer. I like the original Legend of Zelda. I play that all the time still today. And I'm a big PlayStation fan, so I play a lot of those games. But I don't know. I think the older I got, the harder it was to stay focused at an arcade game. I don't know why it is. I just like the idea of just kind of lounging and playing on the TV. But like Galaga and other things, I like getting the console versions, and I still play those games. But speaking of Moon Patrol, I know the new Intellivision I reserved is coming out in October, and that's one of the games that comes with the system. So that's going to be really
nice.
cool. Yeah, that's going to be really they have a little test demo you can do on your cell phone, and it looks awesome. It looks so good.
What's your high score on Moon Patrol?
Oh my goodness, I don't even think I've recorded it. I can't even tell you. I think it's stage. If I went by stages, I think I got to like the 14th stage or something. That's when like all the missiles are coming out and things behind you are coming through. I don't think last time I played that game was probably last summer at Galloping Ghost. Yeah.
Do you know? We talk about this with some of the games we play, including Galaga, and depending on what difficulty, how the machine is set up. Does Moon Patrol have a kill screen? You know how like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong. Certain machines and the way they're set up, they can go to a kill screen where the machine, runs out of memory, and basically that's it. Did you know if Moon Patrol can do that?
So basically, you can get a maximum score. It's not like a kill screen, but if you get, it stops at 1,000,000 points, like 999,000 is like the end, and then it like flips the score. So it starts over. So there's not really, it's kind of as long as you can play it. I should look up. I don't know if there's marathon players. I'm sure there are for Moon Patrol, but you can go for quite a while.
Maybe you should start a Moon Patrol forum.
I should. I should get back into that game now that we're talking about it. I'm getting excited. But there's a lot of videos online that you can see people with high scores and stuff, and they're pretty high. There are a lot of people that are good at that game. But yeah, again, like right now I'm playing like Friday is the Final Fantasy VII remake for PlayStation. I have that. I'm going to get that Friday, and that's like one of my top console games of all time is Final Fantasy VII. So I'm really excited about the remake. But I'm a overall gaming fan in general. Like I just like being around gamers. I could watch people play games all day long, and So I think the arcade business is really booming again, and I think that's exciting. I like talking arcade games like we used to in the 80s and 90s.
No, it is.
Yeah.
So do you guys play any PC games at all?
Oh, see, that's the thing. I used to as a kid. I stopped doing that. That's a big deal too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How about you, Joe? Anything PC?
No. Pretty much I told you my story like you, John. I'm a kid where, when I was a tween and an early teen is when, all the games, all the classics, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, all of them came out, and, every arcade and, pizza parlor and 7-Eleven, that's when I played. And then I would say, probably around the time right before I could drive, is when I think one of the first Nintendos came out. I had Atari 2600 and ColecoVision and Intellivision. That obviously dates me. But I think right around the time when my younger brothers were getting the first Nintendo and The Legend of Zelda and all that stuff. I thought they were cool, but I was about getting out, going to the arcades with my buddies, whether we would walk up there or ride our bikes up there or have our mom or dad drop us off at the mall with a couple of dollars. And that's what we did. I really, after I could really get out of the house, with my parents' permission or not, I really abandoned all the console games. I know there's so much cool stuff that's out there, and then that was it. I even when I started working and had money to buy stuff, I still went to the arcades because, like I said, that our arcades were still huge. In the late 80s and early 90s, there was some really, really cool arcades here in the Chicagoland area, and it's sad that they're all gone now. But like you mentioned, Todd, the first time I walked into Galloping Ghost, which is only 3-4 years ago, oh my gosh, my mouth dropped, and we really plugged it last week. And if you haven't been out there, for those listening, Galloping Ghost, Brookfield, Illinois, phenomenal. I think Doc is approaching 800 cabinets right now.
Over 800 now.
No, he's at almost 770. Because he puts out a new game every Monday night.
Right.
And I think his 800th game is going to be late next year, so it's like 30 more weeks or something.
That doesn't count pins, though, right? Or does
no,
it?
that's not pinball. No,
okay,
correct.
He's got a separate building for his pinball. He's trying to start a pinball thing too. He's got about 30 pinball machines.
That's phenomenal. And then of course too, there's a couple other places here in Chicago, and We were also really trying to plug one of our buddies down in southern Indiana, Colton. With
Starting
was
up
it
that
High?
new arcade, yeah. High
Yeah,
Score
start his
Saloon
new art.
2.
Yeah, High Score Saloon 2. I know there's a friend of mine here. Have you been, Todd, since you're local to the area? Do you know Jeremy Fox from Prince Arcade?
I don't recognize the name. I may have met him in passing, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
Where's that located?
So his arcade is I can't think of the name of the mall, but it's I think it's called like the Bolingbrook Promenade,
Oh.
or it's the mall in Bolingbrook, right off of like 55 in Boughton. And it's one of those places, you pay the fee to get in and you play all day. I don't know his exact game count, but I want to say he's probably near, Jeremy, if you're listening, forgive me. He's probably maybe near 80 machines, maybe give or take 5 or 10 machines. But he started off, and he still does this. Jeremy is one of the guys out there, and there's quite a few since I've been really looking online. Jeremy has a really successful business selling the multi-cades, the 60-in-1 cabinets.
Yeah. That's something I want to get.
Yeah, but really, really well done. I mean, when you look at these things, the photos, or even see them in person, when you at a distance, you're like, oh my gosh, that looks like a mint. Pac-Man machine or a mint Galaga machine, and of course, it's not an original. It's a multi-cade, but again, really, really well. If you want to say, recreations of the classics, they're not that expensive. They're well made. So he still does that. Plus, he's also in the business. If you do not want to buy the full machine. For a lot of the guys out there, I know there's lots of groups of these arcade collectors and restorers. He will sell, identical copies from, I guess it's called the Prince Arcade Wood Shop. He actually sells. So if let's say you bought a beat up Pac-Man or a beat up Galaga. But the thing's just beat to crap, just because a lot of them are. Like, literally, they say the cabinet is garbage. It's firewood. But you can take the guts out of the machine. He'll sell you, from his wood shop, the actual cabinet, an empty cabinet per, the exact specs that you need. So, you go buy a Pac-Man, his cabinets are cut from specs taken off original Pac-Man machine. His wood shop will make it. They put it together. They'll sell you the cabinet for whatever it is, dollars. Guts inside yourself and make your own. Kind of like
I think we're getting some audio issues on your end, Joe. I don't know if it's on all of our ends or just one, but
he's cutting out.
Yeah.
So, but.
Yeah, I was just looking at the website. It's pretty cool, princearcades.com. He's really good stuff here.
Yeah, check him out too. Like I said, if you get a chance, being local to in the Chicagoland area, Todd. Like I said, he's down in Bolingbrook. Unfortunately, like Galloping Ghost, they're all closed. Right. And I know they post though pretty much every day and try to do some fun stuff and keep everybody in good spirits. And I wish them all well. And I know, but once it's lifted, everybody will get back in and enjoy. But yeah, to your point, what you were saying. Now that I myself am in my very, very late 40s, to be able to go out to these places now again, or take my kids and play so many of these games. We were reminiscing last week talking about on the aisles of games and games and games, and every corner you turn, you're like, oh my gosh, like you said, oh my gosh, Troll, oh my gosh, there's a Satan's Hollow, there's a Track and Field, or there's games you've never seen before. He has proto.
Oh, he cut out.
Yeah, I think we might have lost him there.
You're like, this is a really cool machine, type machine stuff. You're like,
cutting
what the
back
hell
and
is
forth.
This game? Oh, this is like. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it's cool seeing these. It's cool seeing these arcades, and as an older guy now, to go back in and play these games. Like I said, some of them you really. I mean, there are machines at some of these arcades now that are open that. I swear I haven't seen them since I was a teenager. You're talking back in the 80s. So it's amazing to see that some of these games are still have survived, and that you can go and you can play this game and like we like to say, relive your youth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
now, I don't know how you're sitting now, but I know Todd had mentioned initially that he only had about an hour, and we've run over a little bit on that.
Okay, yeah.
And you're cutting in and out a little bit. We could go ahead and end it. I mean, we can bring Todd back on when we have Rob and have some video, which would be much better. And we'd like to get some video of you also, since we haven't been able to do that yet.
Yeah, and I could talk anything, other than, myself. I love talking gaming. So if you want to have me on again, that'd be great.
That would be awesome too. And
Yeah.
you can talk about your books some more and the other things you've got going on. Hopefully we'll, have a little bit bigger build up by then.
Yeah, with the video, I could show like samples of the books and magazines. So
yeah,
that'd be good.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me on. This is really fun, and I look forward to doing it again. That'd be awesome.
Oh, likewise. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys. It's good to talk to you,
thanks.
Joe.
Yeah, you too, Todd. Thank you very much for being on, and John, thanks for inviting me back again this week, and
thank you.
Had a really good time. And it's amazing, just like last week. I think last week the show went over 2 hours, and it's amazing. It's really cool. I hope we're providing some entertainment for those listening out there. I know last week Rob was able to see, or I think you as well, John, able to see some of the comments that were coming in live. That was really cool. But again, thank you both for having me on, and hopefully I didn't talk too much.
No, great.
It was great because again, that's where I kind of let everybody lead the conversation, and I just kind of chime in here and there. And the quality of this thing it's a huge difference when Rob's running it as opposed to me trying to. So,
that's okay.
But like for instance, where we only have the audio, I was able to put up a couple pictures. Granted, yours, Todd, I only got a picture of I think that's a trading card picture.
Oh, that's okay, no problem.
And then for Joe, I had his picture that we used last time, and then I popped one up by myself also and took away my video, so it was it's total audio, so everything's consistent. But hopefully, I'll get better at this. And
no, we appreciate you. We appreciate what you do, and then John. So for Todd and myself, and for those that might want to catch and listen to let's say not a rebroadcast, but to listen to this at a later date, how would they go about doing that?
Yep, I will pop that up right now. You'll see our social media links. As far as watching the audio. You can see that on Twitch at twitch.tv/gamingfeats. And you can also see us on YouTube at the Gaming Feats Experience. Gaming Feats was taken, and the person or group that has it has put up one video a few years ago, and that was it. So, unfortunately, you can catch us on Twitter at Gaming Feats. And our Facebook is the Gaming Feats Experience. Our email is gamingfeatsexperience@gmail.com. And then, of course, we also have the Galaga Forum Facebook and website as well, which is galagaforum.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys, and thanks for everybody listening tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Well.
Have a safe time. Everyone be safe.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks, Todd. You too. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
And thanks for everybody that's tuned in tonight. And we will see you again next week at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. And hopefully Rob will be back with us. Again, he was without power tonight, so we'll hope to see him again next week. And thanks for watching, and have a good night. See you guys.